So today I'm going to be giving you my full review on Ralph's Club by Ralph Lauren. I have to do that every single time. I hope you guys know that. It's kind of like CH-Men Privé. When everyone would talk about Privé back in the day, they would flip the cap off. That's what you have to do here. It's basically, it's required. And just because this isn't a video about CH-Men Privé doesn't mean you can escape that. I mean, come on, it is fun. It is cool. And let's be real. That's a lot of the reason why this fragrance is going to do so well, and also why it has done so well, as it has been a new release this year, and it is currently on all of the big retailers, like one of the highest rated fragrances. That's crazy. Like, go look. I'll link it down below to Macy's for you so you can pick it up if you want. Look at the reviews, like 5,000 reviews, and it's like almost 5 stars across the board. Same thing when you go to Sephora. Same thing at Ulta, I believe, just all the big retailers. It has a crap ton of reviews. What the heck? So yeah, I would say this is probably the highest rated fragrance, new fragrance of 2021. Let's dive into that. We're gonna tell you how it smells, how it performs, when you can wear it, and if I think it is worth a pickup. Let's go into the club. So let's start off with how this one smells. So this here has your masculine, young, fresh guy smell. Now, because I said young doesn't mean you have to be young. You can wear this at any age, but essentially what I mean by that whole sentence there is that it has the new style of cologne type of smell, the modern type of DNA freshness. You may look at the bottle and you may think it almost looks a little bit like it would be more of a classic scent. I don't know, maybe just looking at it. I think it does look very modern, but I also think there's a side of it where it looks a little bit classic as well. Just everything from the flask style to just how it looks. And so you may be wondering the direction that it's going to go, because I know when it first came out, I was thinking the same thing. But once you get it in, you realize that it is not a classic smelling cologne, quite the opposite. We'll go over the note breakdown real quick. We have lavender and clary sage up top, cedarwood in the mid, vetiver in the base. That's all they give us. So to touch on what I get the lavender for sure. Opens up with lavender, a little bit of an herbal touch from the clary sage, and a note that I get that doesn't seem to be listed is kind of an amberwood type of thing going on. Yes, amberwood. Don't freak out and click off the video just yet. Just hang with me a little bit longer. I kind of get some of that. There's a little bit of a sweetness here that wouldn't appear to be coming from what they've listed off. But one thing is for certain, you do pick up on the woods. The vetiver especially really comes through in the base. The cedarwood comes through, but it's not like a super dry or spicy or strong cedarwood. It's more of a kind of a tamed down cedarwood variety. So don't think of something like Bentley Absolute, Bentley for Men Absolute, very dry cedarwood. Think of something that is just much more smooth and less dry and in your face. That's kind of how it comes across here. Everything about this fragrance has very much a smooth delivery. So the opening isn't too incredibly strong or bright. It's not spicy. The dry down isn't spicy or strong in any way. You find that the fragrance itself is just very smooth. And that can be a good thing, but that could also be a bad thing, believe it or not, because I'm not talking about just smooth in terms of quality. The quality is very smooth, but just in terms of the scent profile. A lot of guys out there, myself included, like a little bit of a spiciness, like a little bit of a punch in the opening, or something to kind of hook you. And this one doesn't necessarily have that, so that's something to keep in mind. But with that being said, what kind of draws me into this one is the way it all blends together here. You have this balance that you're kind of striking with this one. From the woods to the lavender to the clary sage, it just works together really well. I need to stop spraying it up in the air because it's getting in my eyes. Can you see that? Yeah, not good. That's kind of where it comes across. And it's one where, for me, when I first smelled it, it came across very generic, okay? And it was like, do I really need another thing like this? But what's weird is as I continue to revisit it, it gets more interesting. I start to discover things that I didn't smell the first time. And even leading up to this video, like recently, like a couple days before I shot it, I discovered new and different little nuances about it that I didn't notice before. So as I smell it more and more, I realize that I start to like it a lot more. So if you buy this one and you think it's boring, you think it's just not gonna be for you, not gonna be that exciting, I encourage you to continue to wear it and test it. Because if I would have given up on this one after I smelled it the first time, I would have missed out on something that now I really enjoy. And that's kind of where it is here with me. You know, it has a nice, clean, smooth, woody, fresh, masculine smell. Ultra versatile, and you can tell it's going to be a great compliment getter. So let's take a look at the performance here. On my skin, longevity has been around the 7-hour mark. And that is an eau de parfum, by the way, so that's a good concentration. I like that they released this as an eau de parfum right out of the gate rather than starting with an eau de toilette. Now, that's not to say that we're not going to see flankers, because I pretty much know that we are. If we weren't to see any flankers of this, I would be incredibly shocked. Every brand does it. Polo they're known for doing it as well. And so I'm excited for the future of this. You know, you may smell this, and again, maybe you don't like it at first, maybe you come around to it, maybe you don't. But the point is, you got to look forward to the future of new fragrance lines like this, because I think there's a lot of potential. I can imagine a parfum coming out with more richness, more depth, that sort of thing, so it's something to think about. Projection and sillage on my skin is also going to be a bit on the softer side. It comes across as more of a signature scent projector. And what I mean by that is it's not a loud fragrance like a party scent or a club scent or that sort of thing. It's not a super close to the skin personal fragrance like maybe a date fragrance. It kind of is in the middle. So it's one that works for wearing it on a daily basis. It won't offend people in your workspace or at school, but it also won't be to where they can't smell it, and it won't be to where people across the room can smell it either. It just strikes a nice balance. So maybe you like that, maybe you don't. Depends on what you're after here, but if you're looking for a signature scent, one to wear to school and to work, very inoffensive, this is it. And as you would expect, this is a great compliment getter. My girlfriend loves how it smells, and really, you don't need to do too much field testing to know that it's going to be, at least if you smelled a lot of different things. For me, at this point, I can smell something and be able to tell if I think it's going to do well. I thought that when it first came out, and once I start testing it, it proved it for itself. Now, in terms of when you can wear it, spring, summer, fall, winter, I think it's a good year-rounder. So if I had to choose a season or seasons, it would probably be just warmer climate, warmer times of the year as the ideal time, but not necessarily too hot. So maybe like a spring and fall type of thing. Again, it's still going to work in summer and winter, but you'll have to adjust your sprays accordingly. More in the winter, maybe a bit less in the summertime, because the heat makes it push more and open up. And then in spring and fall, it'll be kind of really good for that time. Now, again, fall right now here is starting to feel like winter, so maybe early fall and late spring if you really want to be specific. But I don't think this one is one where you need to think too hard about it. If you're feeling like wearing Ralph's Club someday, it doesn't matter what day or what time of year it is, I think you can wear it. And for the most part, same goes with versatility. I think it can be worn dressed down, but I also think to some extent you can dress it up. I would like to see them put out a parfum which really takes the classiness to the next level, and maybe that could be a really good dressed up scent. I wouldn't wear this super formal, but it could be done, just depends. So for people looking to build up a collection of, just a few fragrances, and you just want something that's a signature, one you can wear every day, you want a high quality scent, maybe you want a scent from a high-end sounding designer brand, then you could check this one out. I'm happy with it. Like I mentioned, give it a chance. Go back to it, test it a few times, make sure you give it the chance it deserves, give it an opportunity, because I've discovered things about this one that I didn't the first few times I smelled it. So I think that's going to do it for me, guys. That's my thoughts on Ralph's Club by Ralph Lauren. Again, this is an eau de parfum starting off strong out of the gate. I'm excited to see some flankers. I'm excited to hear from you guys. Have you tried this one yet? If you have, what do you think of it? If you haven't, are you going to? I think it's all around pretty solid. In terms of waiting for discounters, it's going to be probably still a while, and then by the time it does hit discounters, the price is still going to be relatively high, and by the time the price comes down, depending on where it's going to land, I don't know. Who knows how much of a discount it's going to be. So if you want to buy it at retail, I will link it down below. Honestly, I'm pretty happy with my retail price. I'm glad I got it. So that's where you can pick it up if you're interested. That's going to do it for me. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.